We just assume these animals are domesticated. They're our entertainment. But really, this is an 11,000-pound, 22-foot whale. Should we be surprised that it would kill?
No, not really. But before I answer that question, Dawn was a beautiful person. I did several shows with her, with Tilly even in the background and that type of thing. And I can tell you now that she would want her work to continue. Steve Irwin was a good conservation friend. I can tell you now he would want his work to continue. And even myself, as I leave for Africa next week to do shows with a lot of animals, I would hope my work would continue if something happened. Now, with that said, is it a dangerous animal? Of course it is. It's called a killer whale. Now, when you film these animals like I do in Glacier Bay in Alaska, or you film the killer whales in South America, and you see these animals coming up on the beach, they can go up on the beach, by the way, 10, 15 yards to grab a sea lion and bring him back in the water. And also, I don't know what happened, okay? But I can tell you that about 95% of the time when something like this happens with an elephant, let's say, with a death in a zoological park, which is very rare, or what happened here at SeaWorld, and by the way, let me explain the death at SeaWorld. This is the first death they've had at SeaWorld in 46 years. From the standpoint of a trainer or anyone interacting with whales, and some networks, I'm not saying yours, reporting that there have been 2 other deaths. That's correct. There was a death several years ago by a young man that snuck in the park at nighttime, hid behind some trees, and went in with Tilly. That's like going over the fence at the NASCAR race. So you can't blame SeaWorld for that. The death before in Canada did happen. SeaWorld, I take my hat off to, brought that animal to their parks to give it a life, and that's what they did. And of course, some kind of human error was involved. I believe, this is me, I don't know what happened. And when there's human error involved with something like this, then things happen.
Well, you pointed out 2 other instances. Those 2 other instances of deaths are times this particular whale has been blamed for someone else's death. So 3 deaths on this one whale's head. It seems to me, shouldn't one death be enough? Shouldn't SeaWorld have retired this animal?
Well, when you say retired, remember something, that no one ever swam with Tilly at SeaWorld. The animal was with other whales, females, and Tilly bred, and they had babies. No one ever swam with Tilly at SeaWorld. The young man that was killed that snuck in the park, I can't feel sorry for that young man. I mean, anybody can, if you want to jump off a building, that's basically what he did, all right? You can't blame that Tilly's a wild, dangerous animal. You cannot blame SeaWorld for that.
One quick question, because I don't want to offend dog owners, but I know, for example, if a pit bull kills one human being, often that pit bull's put down, whether it was the person's fault or the animal's. So why shouldn't a whale that's killed a human being, 3 human beings, at least be isolated from any kind of contact with people?
All right, I'm sure that may happen at SeaWorld. I'm sure that may happen at SeaWorld now. I'm not quite sure. But again, if an elephant in a zoological park or something happens, if my orders were, I wouldn't put the elephant down. SeaWorld's had over 1 million encounters, interactions with this whale over the last with whales over the last 46 years. This lady Dawn was the most incredible trainer in the world. She was like an Olympic athlete. She was one of the top trainers, if not the top trainers, maybe even in the history of SeaWorld. Now, did human error happen? Yes, it did. So I don't think that the whale, myself, should be punished or something. Now, will they do other things with the whale now? Probably. I don't know.